Starting in 2013, A Hat in Time was one of the first Kickstarters I ever followed, and it was incredibly successful. The project aimed to raise $30,000, not including stretch goals introducing rewards such as developer commentary, co-op mode, bonus levels, voice acting, and new music by Grant Kirkhope, who's best known for his work on Banjo-Kazooie. Needless to say, they beat their goal, and by a long shot, garnering nearly $300,000, about 10 times as much as they originally aimed for. The game aimed to recreate the spirit of older N64-era platforming games like Banjo-Kazooie and Mario 64, though I can really see the inspiration it took from other games like Super Mario Sunshine on the GameCube. The game opens with Hat Kid, she's the main character, on her spaceship. She's on her way home from well, I don't know what that is, but it doesn't look good. Anyway, she's about halfway there when she gets a knock on her window. On her spaceship window. It's the Mafia. Come to collect. In space. At her spaceship window. God, I've been playing this game for like 5 minutes and it's already a doozy. Of course, the Mafia is persistent, and this guy tries to let himself in. What with this being outer space and all, everything gets sucked out the window and they both go plummeting down to Earth, along with all of Hat Kid's precious timepieces. You see, these timepieces are the fuel for her ship. Now that they've all gone out the window, she can't get home. So the game follows Hat Kid on her quest to get her timepieces back. It's a pretty basic story, and rightfully so. The platformers that inspired this game have similarly shallow yet interesting plots. Think of something like Mario 64, for example. Mario gets a letter from Princess Peach one day asking him over for cake. When he arrives, he finds that Bowser has invaded the castle, and now he has to save the princess. In Banjo-Kazooie, the evil witch Gruntilda asks her magic cauldron if she is the fairest in the land, and it tells her that no! Banjo's sister Tooty is. So Gruntilda kidnaps her, and Banjo heads out to the rescue. In A Hat in Time, Hat Kid loses all of her timepieces and has to get them back. It's a story that I think really encapsulates the feeling of older platformers. This game has loads of character, all the way from the individual characters to the environments, the music. It all captures that quirky, nostalgic, childlike feeling that I remember from platformers of the mid-late 90s and early 2000s. Right from the get-go, when you launch the game, you're greeted with this incredible start menu. It shows Hat Kid's spaceship, and a bunch of the characters from the game orbiting the planet, where you can see the starting area Mafia Town. And in the background, you get this wonderful theme by Pascal Michael Stifel, who did the soundtrack for the game. It's so upbeat and exciting and unique, and the way it backs up the main instrumentals with a theremin really drives home that sci-fi adventure feeling. It really makes me want to jump right into the game, but at the same time, I lingered on this screen because of that sort of good vibe feeling it gave. It's not just the title theme either. The entire soundtrack is like that. It really does a great job of balancing the bouncy, upbeat feeling of a platformer like this one with the atmospheric tone of its environments. You can even hear the inspiration they took from other games in the music. One example that stood out to me was a song called A New Friend in Mafia Town, which really reminded me of Outset Island from The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. Maybe I'm the only one who heard it, but I'll play a couple seconds of each here so you can get an idea of what I mean. If you haven't had a chance to check out either of those songs in full, I do recommend you go check them out on YouTube or Spotify or something. You won't regret it. While we're talking about the soundtrack, you might remember I mentioned earlier that some of the stretch goals for the Kickstarter were tracks by Grant Kirkhope. 7 in total, to be exact. Now, unfortunately, that never came to light. While Grant Kirkhope did actually compose some music for the game, it only really amounted to 2 tracks total. and only one of those made it into the final product in the form of the theme for the hub world. Even that one was left off the soundtrack. Now be warned, I don't have any official sources stating why he didn't compose any more music for this game, but from what I gather from whispers around the internet, he just felt like his music wouldn't suit the game they were trying to achieve. And I tend to agree with that. Grant Kirkhope is an incredible composer who's lent his hand to a number of amazing games and soundtracks, but I just don't think his music would have suited the game in the same way that Pascal Michael Stifel's music has. As it is now, I think the music does a great job of drawing out the personalities of the situations and environments in the game, which are all unique in their own sense. The game consists of 5 chapters, and if you're playing on PC or Nintendo Switch, you can get an extra 2 paid DLC chapters, and all of these feature locations specific to themselves. For the most part, all of these environments are incredibly memorable, but there are some, like Mafia Town, that only stick in my mind out of virtue of being the first area in the game, or one in particular that exists in a chapter with more than one location, the other of which is just so much better. The rest of the environments, however, are so memorable. Each of them captures its own aesthetic, its own feeling or personality. The atmosphere in each of these levels is unique, to say the least, ranging from cowboy western train film vibes to a spooky haunted Halloween forest to an underground organized crime ring operating out of the big city metro. They're not shy to offer a wide array of atmospheres, and even with each environment's uniqueness, each one still captures that same sense of adventure that the game opens with. Not only that, but the mission structure of each chapter... Oh yeah, did I mention the game is mission-based? It does that thing that Super Mario Sunshine did, where you select a mission before entering the level, and that will determine what your goal is going to be. Usually that'll just make minor changes to the level, but sometimes that can put you in completely new scenarios and even completely different locations. But yeah, the mission structure of each chapter is unique. The only things they really have in common are blue and purple time rifts. The blue ones being mostly akin to the secret levels from Super Mario Sunshine. They're basically stripped down bonus levels that amount to basic platforming challenges that are kinda sorta themed around the types of challenges you face in the chapter. The purple rifts are a little more basic in terms of platforming, but have you seeking to find collectibles, which, if you collect all of them, will reward you with a storybook at the end of the level that reveals a bit more backstory about the characters featured in the chapter. Aside from that, the chapters tend to have their own unique theme. Some of them have you exploring the level as an open world and actually just throwing the whole mission structure out the window. Another one, featured in the Seal the Deal DLC, gosh that's a mouthful, has you performing pseudo fetch quests for a ship captain. There's even a freaking horror level. This thing is terrifying. When I was a kid, Luigi's Mansion was enough to scare the pants off of me. This scares me as an adult. Most of these levels, if not all of them, have you interacting with other characters quite frequently, and it's really charming to see these characters starting out as rivals and slowly growing fond of Hat Kid. Their interactions are funny and cute, and they add so much to the experience of the game. Just look at Hat Kid sticking her tongue out at the Mafia. Do it. Anyway, the character designs are beautiful. It makes me sad that there isn't more of this game to experience, because I just want more of the Snatcher, the Conductor, the Empress. Even the side characters, like the Moon Penguins and Express Owls, capture that exact sort of quirky design that I look for in a game like this. I would love to see more of these characters, or characters like them, to have some character development unlike what a game like this usually can offer. That's no fault of the game here. Platformers like this one often don't have the capability to provide that sort of story focus. I just love the characters in this game so much, and I wish I could see more of them. The only place that the design really fails for me is in Chapter 2, Dead Bird Studio. This chapter sees Hat Kid being roped into helping 2 movie directors. One is a very successful train western movie-making owl named The Conductor, and the other is a funky music-loving moon penguin named DJ Grooves. The idea of this chapter is that each level awards points to one of the directors so that they can make the best movie and win at the Bird Movie Awards. The thing is, the levels in this chapter are split between some of the most interesting levels in the game and some of the least interesting levels in the game. And that's fine, really. It's just that the conductor has all the cool ones and DJ Grooves has all the bland ones. On top of that, if you play through these levels casually, say, not focusing too hard on trying to get points for one bird over the other, the conductor will win every time. Of course, there is an argument to be made that even in the lore of the game, the conductor has a long winning streak and DJ Grooves has had a lot of trouble competing with him. I just don't think that staying true to that fact makes for more interesting gameplay. I would much more like to see a neck-and-neck competition when playing casually. Now, maybe my experience is just that. My experience. Feel free to let me know in the comments how you found it. But in my first playthrough, the conductor earned around twice as many points as DJ Grooves, and I felt like I was putting equal effort into gathering points for each of them. There are many instances of what I feel to be a bit of favoritism towards certain characters. Looking at you, Snatcher, Mr. DLC Logo Man. And if you pick up this game, without spoiling too much, you might notice that the conductor is favored more than Grooves elsewhere in the story as well, but I'll leave that at that. The controls are extremely fluid. Hat Kid has a pretty basic but time-tested moveset. She can jump, double jump, dive, attack, and wall jump. And that's about it. What makes it impressive is the ability to fluidly chain these things together in a way that makes platforming feel fun, quick, and natural. And I mean that. This game feels really good to play. To me, it feels almost as good, if not as good, to control Hat Kid as it does to control Mario, the king of platforming. And what's more, there are other things you can unlock as you progress through the game, like new hats that give you new abilities, or badges to put on those hats that usually modify existing abilities, but can also be used to unlock new ones. All of these additions play really well with each other and introduce a lot of new and interesting platforming challenges that you'll have to overcome if you plan on collecting everything in the game. As far as collectibles go, there are a lot more to collect than just your standard timepieces and pawns, which, of course, stand in for something like stars and coins in Mario. You can also find balls of yarn, which are used to unlock new hats, and relics, which, when placed on a pedestal in Hat Kid's ship, will unlock those time rifts we were talking about earlier. And on top of all of that, you can also find rift tokens, which allow you to spin a roulette wheel to unlock cosmetic rewards. These include new looks for your hats, new colors for Hat Kid's outfit, and remixes for songs pre-existing in the game. If you own the Yakuza Metro DLC, there is a new outfit and hat you can get there, and if you own the Seal the Deal DLC, it's still a mouthful, you can complete challenge levels to unlock new, more varied outfits and colors, along with some pretty cool hats. Plus, both DLCs allow you to unlock some new badges that add new aesthetics to the game, if you're into that sort of thing. So yeah, that about sums up A Hat in Time. It's a quirky, unique, heavily inspired platformer that captures the feeling that older platformers gave me as a kid. Now, I wouldn't say it's super similar to those older games, but I also wouldn't say it's super similar to modern ones either. I mean, it's no Mario Odyssey. What it is a wonderful experience that's packaged into a game that's just bursting with character. If you like platformers, whether old or new, I would recommend this one. Plus, if you're the kind of person that's into multiplayer platformers, then hey, this one has a multiplayer mode in one of the DLCs. I never talked about it because I haven't had a chance to try it, but it might be worth looking into. I really enjoyed my time with A Hat in Time, and for the first game to come out of Gears for Breakfast, I'm extremely impressed. They nailed it right out the gate, and I'm really looking forward to whatever comes next. Thanks guys for watching this video for so long. This was my first YouTube video that I've ever put out, and I was super nervous about it. So if you liked the video or if you have any feedback you'd like to give, please feel free to do so in the comments. Thanks again for watching.